So I just wanted to give a brief little introduction of who I am, who Jason is, but we have a guest here with us, Dave Martin, who is your city councilman, and he wanted to take
Thank you. On Wednesday, I had the opportunity to, Ms. Deb Yoakum was the principal at our kids' elementary school, so I know Deb for many, many years. And had the opportunity to walk the land that's in Montgomery County in that development. This was on Wednesday. I started at Kingwood Park High School and walked the entire length to Westlake Houston Parkway. And it was quite obvious to me that there was something wrong. As I went into different houses, I saw the big giant concrete culvert, and where the drainage should have gone, I walked that drainage ditch, and you could have gone out there and eaten a meal off of it. It was so clean. And the funny thing was about 4 feet below the level of the streets. So the water didn't get down its intended path because sand would have been flowing down into that drainage area. But yet the houses that I walked in were filled with sand. So I contacted Channel 13 and I asked them to come out and do a report, and Deborah Wrigley showed up, and my plea was that everyone that's in this area ought to get together and file a class action lawsuit against these guys because of what I think they've done is criminal.
Is this the sand plant on the San Jacinto River?
I'm sorry?
Is this the sand plant on the San Jacinto River that you're talking about?
Sand plant? No, it's not. This is a development that's in Montgomery County. So as you know, you live on the border of Harris County, City of Houston, and Montgomery County. And this is a development that is, the land is owned by the MUD, the Municipal Utilities District, and they're doing all the cleaning and grubbing. I had the opportunity to walk this land with 2 guys that are with Harris County Flood Control. I'm an accountant by trade, I'm not an engineer. They're engineers. They reached the same opinion that I did, that something went drastically wrong here. So I reached out to Montgomery County on Thursday and talked to their engineer, and I asked for a set of plans, their plans that they're using for the detention. There are many, many violations with Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. They should put nettings up. It's illegal for anyone to send their water to you. What they did was they sent their water to you. So I've met Kim and Jason way back when we were going after the San Jacinto River Authority for the act that they did 20 months ago now. And they've done a great job, and we communicated a lot. And that case is moving forward to hopefully to remediation. So what I thought we would do is have the opportunity to get folks together and let y'all hear from a couple of good lawyers and see what kind of action that you want to take. I think what they did was criminal. I have a meeting on Monday with the Montgomery County judge. He's just recently elected. The interesting thing is we have a new judge in Harris County. We have a new judge in Montgomery County. We have a new commissioner that controls this area in Montgomery County. So I'm getting a set of the plans, and I'll turn them over to the engineers, our engineers in the city of Houston, to get their opinion of it. So I'll give it back to Kim, and she'll tell you the process that we need to go through. Just a couple of quick housekeeping items, if you don't mind. We're trying to get the big debris trucks down your streets to get the stuff that's sitting in your lawn off of your lawn.
You've done a really good job.
Yes.
I hate to say this, but we're well experienced in this from 20 months ago. But we need to get the cars off the streets, because what they do is they come in dual fashions. You have one truck that's a grappler, it picks the stuff, drops it in the other one, takes off to the landfill, and another one comes behind them. That's the systematic approach we'd like to use. So there's a lot of great people in this area that want to help. I went out there yesterday, and they had more churches and more volunteers than I've ever seen. Tremendous people with a giant heart to help everybody. Yeah, thank you. Good to see you. So what we need to do is, if they can't get them off the street into the driveways, at least let them pull up onto your lawn a little bit and move them so that we can get those folks out there. So I'll turn it over to Kim, but yes?
Are you specifically recommending these 2 law firms that are here today?
I'm specifically recommending y'all sue. I'm specifically going to introduce you to people that I think have done a good job, from my perspective, representing folks like me who got flooded during the infamous Hurricane Harvey. So what I will do is I'll give you the people that you should get in contact with. The name Tony Busby has popped up. I reached out to Tony Busby's law firm after Harvey, and he didn't want to do anything about the action going against the San Jacinto River Authority, for whatever reason. I don't know if he didn't think it was a winnable case. I don't know if he likes the San Jacinto River Authority, not us. I don't know. But we did reach out to him after Hurricane Harvey, and he didn't want to take on the case. So my job is to put people in front of you to take action. I think you guys got the raw end of the deal, and I want to see something done. So that's what I'm doing. So there has been a lot of comments about the City of Houston storm drains. I don't know if you noticed our trucks out there, but we've had the City of Houston examine as much as we can every single storm drain in Elm Grove, which points me to another reason. This will come out in the court of law, is that we sent cameras. These cameras can go down the storm system for 1,000, I think it's 4,000 feet, and they can look at any blockage or anything like that. As the guy who's the contractor for the city said, when we opened up a couple of storm drains, he said, these things are beautiful. I have pictures in my cell, so if anybody wants to see them, I'd be glad to show them. No water in them, no sand in them. So the storm drains, I think, did what they were supposed to do. This is an accountant, not an engineer. So I looked at the storm drains with them. I saw that they were pretty darn clear. That's why I think this points directly to a blockage of a drainage system that diverted water from the proper path down a drainage system into people's backyard. And that's the house that I went into and had the opportunity to look at sand sitting here and clean path over here. So we're going to continue to do the solid waste pickup. Please bear with us. We have the cops out there. We're trying to do one-way traffic. Homeowners Association, thank you. You've been great. So with that, I'll give it back to him. Yes. Yes. I don't know about that, but.
So, well, we already know what the problem is. The problem is the dam behind Elm Grove. Okay, that's the problem.
Yes.
Is there any way we can get the thing knocked down now?
So they'll talk about a temporary restraining order. I'm going to meet with a Montgomery County judge on Monday. I think a combination of their plan, we talked about this, and what I'm doing with Montgomery County. Our big fear is this can't happen again. You can't fix up your houses, get it ready, and then have it happen again. So we need to do that. We need to do that. Real quick, I'm sorry.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Did your engineers, did they see could it have backed up into other areas? Because our business was flooded also, and it is up creek or wherever from this area, and it has never flooded.
So you're in north of that.
We're on the 13th.
Okay, you're in New Caney.
But it's never flooded.
So I didn't go to New Caney. So
Montgomery County, but the creeks run there.
right. I did not see that area, but that's Harris County engineers. We can only do Harris County. We can do from that electrical line south. So okay, real quick.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, does Harris County allow Montgomery County to use our drainage? When you figured it out at 2 inches per hour to drain, when you tie somebody else in, that's a new factor. Who allowed that to happen? Does Harris County allow them to tie in without asking permission first?
I believe the answer to that is yes, but we get a chance to look at their.
I asked
then
that,
Harris
can I
County needs
answer
to
that? I
look at
asked
it.
that
I just don't
question.
know.
I do.
Yes.
What they said is that when you have a tributary that goes down a level, they don't have to ask permission because the water's always going to seek the right way. They did not have to ask. I literally asked this Carl Woodward this question, and he
Yes.
said there is
Yes.
But
no
that needs to
stopping
change,
it.
because
Yeah.
that
So
changes the
Kim
factors
will
in 2
address
inches
this.
per hour.
Kim will address this as well. Carl Woodward is the gentleman from Harris
Can you
County
release the
Flood
plans,
Control.
please? Can you release the plans?
I'm going to give the plans. I'm going to get the
Make them
plans.
public, please, on Facebook.
Well, I'd like to, but once they get court orders, I think they might start protecting everything. That's why
Are you
I'm
allowed to
on
make
that.
them public?
Yeah, that needs to change. There's a lot of
Real
things that I
quick.
Our
found out
engineers
that we
need to look at that first.
Yeah, there's a
Okay,
lot
go.
of things I found out that we need to change. And I intend to
Yes,
change them,
Dave
so
Martin,
don't even worry about that.
City of Houston, council member, I represent District E, which encompasses Kingwood, Clear Lake, and South Bell, Ellington.
But You can't drink 2 glasses of water at the same time.
Yes.
They put it in our
We are as
system
well.
and backed it up.
We think they're maybe connected as well. Last one. Yes, you know, I almost got in a fight yesterday with one of the contractors who's moving this big container to block the street for about 15 minutes because he's moving the container for debris into somebody's front yard. And I get it, but he's blocking our garbage trucks for 15, 20 minutes where we can get a lot of material. Once we get in there, it goes relatively fast. So we just need some help. Just get the cars off the street. After they're finished, I'll stay around till whenever we need to. So thanks.
One more big shout out to Dave because he works tirelessly for you guys.
Yes.
We have watched him. I have worked with him since Harvey. He really cares about his community and he really does fight hard for you guys. So big round of applause for him. So I know there's a lot of people raising hands and wanting to ask questions, and we want to answer as many questions as we can, but we want to kind of get the information. Let us get the information out to you. We may have your answers in our presentation, and then we're happy to stick around for as long as we need to answer any questions that anybody may have. But we want to try to make this go a little more smoothly, a little more controlled, so that everybody can get the information. Can y'all hear me back there? All right. I've really never been accused of not talking loud enough, but okay. My name is Kim Spurlock. This is my co-counsel, Jason Webster.
Thank you.
So I'll let Jason, I'm going to hand it over to him in just a minute to kind of give you some details. But I want everybody to understand that this is new, right? So this just happened on Tuesday, 3-4 days ago. And I was contacted on Wednesday. And since Wednesday, we have, and my office staff has tirelessly investigated, researched, come out, met with some neighbors, looked at the property, gotten on a 4-wheeler, drove around, taking pictures. We have a team of experts coming out today. When we're done here today, we're going to be meeting them over there so they can look at everything. But know that this is still new, so we may not have an answer to every single question that you have today. But know that we are working to get those answers, okay? So one of the main things that we want to try to do is get at least a temporary fix on this drainage problem with this development, okay? That's step number 1. We plan on filing a lawsuit next week, and we plan on asking for an injunction. And we plan on trying to get into a court within the next week or two. Please understand, the wheels of justice turn very slow. But our goal is to try to get into it before a judge in the next week or two to try to get an injunction in place to get some kind of at least temporary fix until we can do all the diligence we need to do, get all the experts out there, get all the documents, and work the case up to conclusion. So that's our number 1 goal for you guys, okay? I'm gonna turn it over to Jason so he can kind of explain to you some of the technicalities of what you guys are dealing with. And when we're done, like I said, we will stick around. And Dave said he would stick around, answer any questions that you guys may have. We will have in the back, in the tables where you signed in, engagement contracts. If you want to retain us to handle your case for you against these developers, you will need to sign an engagement contract with us, okay? So we'll have those in the back. You can sign those before you leave. If you have questions about them, we're happy to answer any questions that you have. We can't help you without you asking us to help.
What about people that are not here today? Like, I'm live on Facebook.
Yes.
So that they can see what you guys have to say.
Yes.
So what about those people that are not here to sign up and want to sign up? How do they go about doing that?
They can contact my office, 548-0900. They can ask for Shelly, they can ask for Jimmy, they can ask for me. We will get their information, we will email them a contract and answer any questions that they may have, and we can handle that over email. They can come to my office. I'm on Westlake Houston Parkway, just about 1 mile south of the Atascocita High School.
Can you say that number one more time?
281-548-0900. Okay, so for right now, I'm going to hand it over to Jason, and we'll go from there. You can take it home and read it if you want. You have questions about it, you ask us. However you want to handle that. Like I said, we can't represent you when we go to court next week or the week after. We can't represent you if you haven't retained us. So that's the only thing on that. We're going to hold questions until the end, but I'm going to hand it over to Jason.
How's everybody doing? My name's Jason Webster. I'm a trial lawyer from here in Houston, Texas. I grew up in Ennis, Texas. During the time that I was there, I want to tell you that I worked for my uncle. He owns a company called KWA Construction. And I built apartment complexes up until I was in law school during that entire time, and started sweeping floors to the point where I was helping him build those at the time. And I had kind of a career change and got back into doing this type of work. So I understand construction. I understand what is going on out there. But before I start real quick and tell you what we can do and kind of the things we are, I just want to know, is there anybody here from Figure 4 Partners? Y'all heard of them? Okay. I just want to know. Exactly. I doubt anybody's going to say anything, but I want to ask how about Rebel Contractors? Anybody? Stormwater Solutions LLC or Perry Homes? Anybody? Any representatives from those guys here? I'd like to know if they're here, please. That's okay. I just want to know if they're here. They can hear what they have to say because they're the ones that jacked this up. So at the end of the day, I want to correct something. What y'all have here is not a class action, right? It's not a class. Everybody has their own claims because everybody's damages here are different, based upon a lot of things. One, just the square footage of each of your homes. Everybody's is different. So it's going to take a different amount of money to fix those at the same time, right? So it's not a class action. Everybody has their own independent cause of action that would be filed on their behalf. Granted, some of these will be grouped together in a lawsuit, but that's how that's going to work. This is the type of work that I do. If you look up my website, I do all kinds of stuff. I do pharmaceuticals. I've represented the Mechanic trained members. We have over 400 people we represent on this same type of work. So the reason we're here, we wanted to try to help you guys, is because this is not the first time this has happened, unfortunately. Even during Harvey, especially down around the League City area, the Painted Meadows subdivision, those types, there were areas that were just exactly the same as y'all's, that were making it through the storm without a single drop of rain in their backyard, or other than normal rain. And the next thing you know, they wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, there's a foot of water in their house. They can't figure out why. Well, I've had it where they've had construction mats that go down in the drains and block it. I've had it where you have the same here, where you have silt movement and the rest, where they have not properly prepared for storms, especially as it relates to this type of season. Because as y'all remember, even before Harvey, there was that huge storm in that May. Right. And so these issues come up, and this is things that these types of companies should have to plan for. All right. So first off, the first thing we want to be able to do to tell you guys is that we want to try to get this temporary injunction done. We can't do that unless we represent you, number one. Number two, I got to get it done. But when you ask for a temporary injunction, well, we got to know what we're asking them to do. And overall, what we're asking them to do is to fix your drainage so this doesn't happen again. Okay? That's the number one thing. Well, we brought in, I've got a hydrologist, a civil engineer, and 2 other experts that are coming with those to plat, map, and figure that out very quickly so that we can provide the court with what we believe needs to be done in order to prevent this from happening. They're on their way now. I should have it done. It just takes a little while to kind of do that kind of thing, but we'll get that done. So that's the first step you get in doing this. The second step is at least we know who the Figure 4 Partners is, the responsible entity that is developing the plats. I don't know if y'all know how developing works, but normally you have a developer that comes in and they will clear the land like they've done out there. They put in a plan. They have to get certain permits from Montgomery County. We've been looking for those. I don't know sometimes these things get done try to get done very quickly, but we'll have to see. We're looking into the permit process. We've been pulling those types of things. Once they do that, they plat it, and then they put in, they draw a set of streets, a set of drainage, a set of this. They have these engineers that come in and calculate how much rain is going to be able to fall in that area, how much drainage you're going to need, and storage, retention ponds, and the rest to properly drain it so people's homes don't flood, right? Well, and in this case, anytime that you scrape the land and you take off all that vegetation, all those trees, that was all protection to your property to keep it from flooding at those times, right? So I'm telling you things that these are things that my engineers have to take into account when we go into the court and we ask them about this, because we have to show a couple of different things. One of the greatest things about Texas law is the Texas Water Code, Section 11. And if you ever want to look that up, you can. What that says is that if you have a neighbor next door to you who decides he wants to, I don't know, make him a water slide in his backyard, whatever, it doesn't matter, and he diverts water, any type of stormwater runoff, onto your property and causes damage to your property, they're strictly liable for that. So the first thing we have to prove when we put on this lawsuit is that, and that's why the engineers are coming, is that at the end of the day, the water that came from the development, that came onto your home and into your homes and the rest, was as a result of their runoff and their actions. And as long as we prove that, they're strictly liable for the damages you've done. Which,
Facebook is asking, what's y'all's success rate and how have you won this kind of case?
absolutely. I have not tried this case, but we've settled them all. So, and there's some that are still pending. But yes, I've settled and done these cases before.
What was the question, please? Finish.
Oh.
Are there politicians here right now with financial responsibility with rebel contractors?
Right. So what I'm trying to explain to you is what we can do for you. I'm not going to be able to, come in there and fix your houses, and they're not going to force them to do that. In a court, two things can happen. One, you have a criminal court system, you have a civil court system. Civil court system is what we're talking about here. Civil court equals money, because that's really all I can do for you. But to try to get the money back that you've lost, the repairs for your home, and all those types of things. You do that by simply filing this lawsuit and moving forward. They usually take somewhere between 18 to 24 months. That's just part of it, right? So this is going to take a little while to do. Number two, at the end of the day, we have to prove certain things. One, we got to prove the water code portions that we talked about. Two, I always want to prove negligence, because they did not do what a reasonable and prudent company would have done under the same and similar circumstances. That's the legal standard you have to meet. And once we meet those things, then it goes to damages. And damages are what you can recoup as a result of that. And that's the most important thing that you can do today, is to start keeping an accurate record while you fix your homes. Every single thing that you have that costs you money, that you have to build, that you have to go out and do, every day, every hour off of work, the extra child care you may have had to have, all those things need to be documented. The better you document it, the better. That includes any contract for bills, even if you pay your neighbor to come over, and I've had that happen before. You pay your neighbor to come over and help you sheetrock it. Or you go buy the sheetrock and the rest. Keep up with your time. How much time it took you to fix it, even if you fix your own home. That's very important also. What we can do, and what I'm going to try to do, is we're going to move forward on this lawsuit. Like I said, it takes some time, but the most important thing we can do is try to get this
Real quick, I forgot to introduce a couple of people. That's on me. Everybody knows this guy. He's a dear friend of mine. He's been involved in this since day one, actually since 20 months ago, and does a great job for the community. He's the heart and soul of the community. And I know he's here. I didn't see him. Bob Rehack. Bob, please stand up. Bob, stand up, Bob. Thank you. So Bob was out there on, I forget what day it was it Wednesday or Thursday when we were out by Kingwood Park High School, and he took more photos than anything, so he'd be a good source for all the photos. And another gentleman, Bill King, is here. Bill, thank you for coming. So that was my bad. I should have introduced those two at the beginning, but thank you.
Yeah, I do have a couple of things. I was approached earlier about making some announcements, and I said that I would announce that because I would forget all the details, and I almost forgot. So there's a couple people in the room that have a few announcements with regards to some community help. Where are you at? Did she leave?
Oh, yes, the church at, bring her up to the mic.
Need a microphone.
Bring her up.
I'll repeat her.
Okay. Kingwood United Methodist Church at 1799 Woodland Hills has an entire room full of donations given from other Kingwood residents. Help yourself. They want you to come over after the meeting and get supplies. Say the name again. It is Kingwood United Methodist.
Kingwood United Methodist,
At 1799 Woodland Hills.
1799 Woodland Hills Drive. And they have some donations. They'd like you to come by and see if any of that is something that can be helpful for you. And then,
Martha's too.
yes, sir.
I think you're looking for my wife.
I don't know who your wife is.
Mother's Day dinner tomorrow from 12 to
Yes.
2 at the Elm Grove Association.
Elm Grove Community Center. Tomorrow between 12 and 2, they're having a free luncheon for everybody and for and Aaron's been very helpful to us as well. Stand up, Aaron.
Hey, stand up, please.
She's been very helpful. We met us early this morning, so.
The homeowners association, but the IRS has a website that you go to and you keep every receipt you have, take a lot of pictures, not only for the insurance companies, but for the auditors, because you may be audited, but you can take the decrease in value of your home and subtract that, and it helps you on your taxes. We did that in 2017 after we got hit with Harvey, and it helps out a tremendous amount, but make sure you keep your receipts. I'll get the website. I may think of it before I leave here, but I'll get the website that you can go to and start looking around and getting ready to prepare for that. You have a long way to go because we are just in the beginning of the year, but you need to get that in order, and you will get, whether Harris County does a reappraisal or not, you will get tax relief Right now, after going through Harvey, and you can see the dredging operation out there and what we did with San Antonio picking up debris for our area. The state of Texas is wonderful with their help to us. Wonderful. Governor Abbott has been wonderful to us in this area. But we need the declaration to act. Because the state, I talked to Representative Huberty on Tuesday, and he said, we're waiting for the judge to release it, but unless you release a declaration of emergency, you can't do anything from the state level.
Does she even know where Kingwood is?
We're gonna steer clear of the political issues. Dave, on the other hand, we will create an email distribution list for all of our clients. Understand that if you haven't retained us, we can't just disseminate information to anybody because of privileges. So if you retain us, we will create an email distribution list. I am in constant contact with Dave Martin, and I have been since we started this Harvey litigation almost 2 years ago. And we'll stay in communication with him. And if he has important information, websites that you need to go to, or people that you need to call, or whatever, I'll lean on him to send that to me. I'll get it out to the email distribution list. I also I follow him on Facebook, and I forward his posts, share his posts, whatever it's called. Dave's been fantastic with regards to getting that information out there, and I'll stay in touch with him to make sure that we're able to get y'all that information as well. Oh, that's an important question. Okay, so everything that we do is on a contingency. We will never ask you for any money, okay? The question was, what are the fees? It's an important question. We will not ask you for any money. We will front the expenses of the entire litigation, the experts. They aren't free, they aren't cheap, but we take care of those expenses up front. I'll give a little kudos to Aaron in the back of the room, who I met with the other night. He was fantastic, he's been great. And we discussed trying to give the community a little bit of break with regards to those fees. It's a standard contingency fee approved by the State Bar of Texas is 40%. And so we have, that's what all attorneys charge is 40% on a contingency if you're in litigation. We have modified that for this particular case, and we have lowered our percentage to 35%. So that is in the contracts that we have in the back. So any recovery, and it is important. I know that the word is just kind of tossed around, class action, but that really has a very specific meaning. And a class action is not what is appropriate for this particular situation, because you each have your own individual separate damages. And so it's much more tedious, and it's a very difficult process that we're still going through with the Harvey victims. But each of you that retains us will have your own individual case within the case in terms of damages. So your damages might not be the same as your neighbors, but they are what they are, and that's what we're pursuing on each individual's behalf. So anything that we may be able to recover, we obviously make no guarantees of anything, but we will never ask you for any money. If we don't recover anything from you, for you, we don't recover anything for ourselves. But so whatever we may recover from you, that would be the percentage. Does that help to answer that question?
The other half of the question on the retainers, you told me you have all your staff out these last 5 days and stuff. Are you adding all that in, or isn't that sort of?
No, the last couple of days of all of our investigations. I'm sorry?
None of us want to be charged for a quote.
No, we don't charge by the hour. Yeah.
Quoting process right now, so all the time your firm is putting.
Yeah, absolutely. Not one dime of that. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So if you're a renter, okay, if you're a renter, you don't own the structure, and so you don't have a legal standing to bring claims for the damages to the structure. But all of your contents are yours, and whatever you own that was damaged, you can make this claim for, absolutely. And I know that some people have flood insurance, some people don't. Your homeowner's insurance, unless you had unless you had damage that wasn't rising water, your homeowner's insurance isn't going to cover that. But if the renter had flood insurance, their contents are covered. If they do not have flood insurance, that is certainly something that we can pursue on their behalf. Well, yes. The question is, if you didn't flood, are the contracts for people that only flooded? Let me clarify that. If you have damages as a result of this company's negligence, then you have standing to bring a claim. But I know there's a lot of people in the community that they want to help the community and they want to help with that fight, but they weren't flooded, they didn't have any damages, they don't have a claim. But we're
That's future
potentially,
damages, because your property value is
potentially, the question was, if you didn't flood, but there's a potential loss in just the home values for the whole neighborhood, if your home value decreases, even though you didn't flood because the neighborhood flooded, there's a potential claim there, yes.
Kimberly,
Okay,
future damages for your property. If you didn't flood,
yes, diminution of value.
yeah, because
Yes.
everyone else who flooded, theirs is going to go down. So will the people who live in the
Absolutely.
community.
Diminution of value is a significant part of your damages that we will pursue for you. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So all of us are,
Yep.
everybody,
I told everybody to be here. Everybody needs to be here.
everybody. You told.
Right.
All of us.
Okay, let me clarify a couple of things that he said he was asking about. There used to be a retention pond on this property. It's been covered up, and he made a mention that it was owned by the mud. That it is not currently owned by the mud. It is owned by Figure 4 Partners Limited Partnership. Okay, I've pulled the deeds. I've pulled all of the information from Montgomery County. They are the owners of the property. They might be they're creating a mud and they're putting in the infrastructure and those types of things, but I just want to make sure that's clear that it's not owned by the mud. The second question is the retention pond. These are things that we are still investigating. We've got to get the plans, we've got to get the engineers to look at them. It looks, from my perspective, and as Dave says, he's an accountant, not an engineer. I'm a lawyer, not an engineer. But that's why we hired the experts to come in and take a look at those plans and see what went wrong, because it's pretty evident just from a visual inspection that something went wrong. So that's something we're still investigating, so I don't have all the answers. I'm sorry, I wish I did, but that is something that we are still investigating. As soon as we get into litigation, we're going to be able to ask for all those documents in what we call discovery, and we're going to get all those documents from them and get them to our engineers to look at. So it's definitely something we're looking at. I don't have all the answers to that right now. Something for the experts. It's something for the experts, for sure. And something we're definitely looking into. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Okay, yes. He was just asking about the retention pond that was on the property and the engineering of it, and I told him that's for our experts to look into, but it's something we are looking into. Realistically, the question is realistically, how long are we going to have to wait before we have any temporary fix? Is that what you're asking about, the temporary fix? We plan on getting this lawsuit filed at the beginning of this week. Okay, we're working now, let me say this. We work at the speed that the courts allow us to work. We're going to file this lawsuit, we're going to request an injunction. And generally speaking, we can get into a court and have a hearing within 14 days. So that's our goal. We will make sure that the courts know the urgency of the situation, and we're at their mercy at that point. Yes, ma'am.
He said it was there.
Yes, ma'am. Document, 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 everything. If 4 volunteers come in your house and they spend 5 hours tearing out sheetrock, just create a diary, get a little notepad, and just start making notes and just keeping a diary of it all. Yes, ma'am. Well, your insurance isn't going to cover everything. The question is, what if you do have insurance, and how does that affect your claim? I will pretty much assure you that your insurance isn't going to cover everything. Okay, but there could be some offsets later on down the road. Don't concern yourself with that right now. We'll need all that documentation in terms of your insurance and what they did pay you for, but still document everything that you lost. I know you guys are in a hurry, and you should be, to get the debris out and put it on the curb because you got to get it out of your house. You got to, you don't want mold to start growing. Take pictures of your trash piles because there's things that you're going to throw away and you're going to forget. And then, in 6 months when I say, hey, I need a list of all your contents, I'm going to want you to go back through your pictures from your trash piles. Oh yeah, I forgot about that antique desk that I had, or I forgot about my steam cleaner, or whatever it may be. Take pictures of your trash piles if you haven't already. Yes, ma'am.
I live in North Branch, and we did not know that I got water in my garage for the first time. We didn't even get water on our street, so I don't have any damages, but I'm here very concerned about what happens when the next hurricane hits in July or August.
Right.
And so since there's no class action suit, what can I do to help all of us prevent the next round of something taking out more?
Well,
It's going 5 more minutes at the rate we're going in my house.
right. And her question is, she didn't flood and she doesn't have any damages, but what can she do to help? Support your community at this point, ma'am. What I can do for you guys, what we can do for you guys is pursue this company, get a fix on this drainage problem, and recover your damages. So there's only certain things that I can do. There's other things that people like you can do who are here to support your community. That's what I'm telling you, and encourage your community to pursue these people because that's how you're going to get that change.
So I can depend on whoever does file claims with whichever attorney that they're going to get what needs to be done before August when something's hurting.
Well, I can't make you guarantees that something's going to happen by August, but we're going to start on this next week. Yeah. Absolutely. Right behind you, sir.
Just trying to get a realistic time. Let's say that in 14 days, you can judge. Maybe you say, you're correct. They
Right.
can adjust the landscape. How long do they have to actually make the
That'll be up to the court to decide. The question was if we were able to get into the court and we, in 14 days, and they could get an injunction, how long will it be till there's a fix in place? That's going to be up to the court to make that order. Obviously, we're going to say tomorrow, but that's probably not going to happen. I don't want to disclose too much, but I do believe that Perry Homes has reached out to somebody, and they're not all that fired up about taking responsibility just yet. So, yes, sir.
What specific remedy will you request with your filing for a TRO?
Well, it's a good question because obviously, people are like, tear the concrete out. Well, I don't know if tearing the concrete out is the right thing to do from an engineering standpoint. We have our engineers coming out this morning. As soon as we leave here, we're going there with them, and they're going to tell us what the best remedy is. So I don't have the answer to that. My experts are going to have the answer to that, and that's what we're going to ask for.
And that will, of course, be a public filing in a Harris County District Court. Correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My boss always says that no question is a dumb question.
Absolutely
But
not.
from their standpoint,
I ask questions all
The amount of water that comes in front of my home is my opinion that it is what pushed the bus into the ditch. Okay? Completely. There is a giant culvert that is maintained by Porter Mud, but it is inundated. It will flow into the creek that runs off to the side, but they will not maintain it. They say it was not put in the mud.
How will this lawsuit affect people's FEMA claims?
Well, just like the insurance issue, there could be an offset later. If you have the opportunity to make the claim with FEMA, make it. We'll deal with the numbers in the offsets later, but don't pass up any benefits that you may be able to receive. Don't pass up with those later. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yes, so she's got to declare the disaster. So, I'm going to reach out to her office Monday morning. Yes, sir.
From a timing perspective, if we pursue a lawsuit in your past experience, should we expect delays from our insurance company, or will they?
No, it won't have any effect on your insurance. Yes, ma'am.
Are y'all going to help us on the west side of Montgomery County?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, in the back. Yes.
Part of my question was already asked. Why would the developer be allowed to fill in the existing water you discussed?
I can't hear you, sir. I'm sorry.
Why would the developer be allowed to fill in an existing?
Why would the developer be allowed to fill in an existing retention pond? It's a very good question. We're going to have our engineers looking at that, so I don't have an answer for you just now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, what other benefits can you look to? The question is, okay. The question is, for those of us without flood insurance, what should we do? What steps should we take? Sir, first thing is first, you've got to get all that drywall out of your house if you haven't already, okay? Get your dehumidifiers in there. Document everything. Obviously, document. You're going to hear me say that a million times. Document everything.
(1001) Preston, Suite 911, Houston 77002, phone number 713-274-7000. Also call your county commissioner, who is Jack Cagle, C-A-G-E-L-L-E, I'm sorry, and I'll give you look up his. Elementary schools. We know that there's a threshold of $17 million. We think if you'd come to the area, you will quickly realize that there's more than $17 million in damage when you look at infrastructure and also homes. So ask her to declare a state of emergency so that they can release state and federal funds to this area. The FEMA process will then start. You have to reach a declaration of emergency, and Montgomery County did that on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning right after the flood started. We didn't do anything. You can see it. We still aren't that good at getting stuff picked up off the street. So. We're coming back again until we get it done. So, yeah, Bob has a ton of pictures, so he's been a great resource always.
Okay, everybody catch that? Call the judge. Tell her you need that disaster declaration. Yes, ma'am, in the middle.
There's one thing I want to call to everybody's attention, and especially yours. There was 2 retaining ponds back there.
Okay.
One belongs to North Kingwood Forest, and according to my management company, that's the one that's still there. The other one, nobody knows what happened to it.
What do you mean your management company?
We're with the Elm Grove Community Association.
Okay.
Our managed custom management told me that North Kingwood Forest.
I don't want to reveal this gentleman's name because of his employment and things of that nature.
Do we need to turn the cameras off? Is
No,
that what
just
you're
don't point
saying?
them at me after I leave stage.
Okay.
So thanks. Unless you're with 4+4 development or whatever. Here you go.
Where is Jason Webster? He's talking. Can somebody, can you grab him, Shelley? Yeah. Jason Webster.
Come on down.
Okay, well, he's making his way. Yes, ma'am, in the red. Absolutely, obviously that's the end goal, absolutely. But we wanted to try to get something done now as opposed to when this lawsuit is over, which is going to take a couple of years. So, absolutely. Absolutely. The process is procedurally, it's you file for a temporary restraining order, you get a hearing within 14 days on a temporary injunction, and then you also pursue what's called a permanent injunction at the conclusion of the case. So there's procedurally, those are the steps that you have to take, and you have to have a lawsuit to file and a viable cause of action that you file with that in order to get that those remedies. So that's where we're in. Yes, ma'am, in the back. Yes, you that's turning around wondering if it's you.
How long do people have to turn these in if they decide they want to move forward?
Well, obviously the sooner the better, but you have a 2-year statute of limitations on your claim. So please know that you hire us or you hire somebody else, that you have to do that. You have to settle your claim or file your lawsuit within 2 years of May 7th, 2019. Okay? Yes, sir.
Is your objection having more people sign up?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The court wants to see that the community wants this. I represented about 350 homeowners in Atascocita when they came in and shut down the golf course and wanted to put development in people's backyards over there in Atascocita. If anybody's familiar with that. And I represented those homeowners, took that case to trial. We filled up the courtroom every single day, and it makes a big difference when they see that the community is behind that. I don't know why Dave wanted you up here. He said you're, oh, okay. Well, there you go. Understand. Dave was calling you up here, so, all right.
See you later.
Yes,
Good
sir.
to see you. Good to see you too.
Yes, I need a spouse's signature, please, yes. If your spouse is not here with you today, that's fine. Shelley will follow up with you. Go ahead and get it signed and get it to us so that we can get you on the petition. But we will ultimately need spouse signatures. Yes, ma'am. I can. We can certainly do something else. We can come back out. We can do this again. but we definitely want to make sure.
I'm
we get
gonna
the
put
word
it
out.
on YouTube and I'll make sure we get a link distributed, okay?
There you go. Your elected official back there is taking care of business. Yes, ma'am.
I'm elected, really.
They can call my office at 281-548-0900. I will make sure that all of my staff knows what they need to do with those phone calls, get the email addresses, and get them the contracts by email, and if there's any questions, we can answer any questions. I'm sorry? Fantastic. Okay, yeah, if y'all want to, we should have some extras. Hopefully we have some extras. If you want to take some to take to your neighbors, you can do that as well. Yes, sir.
You want one for me?
Here she is. Okay, yes, ma'am.
The San Jacinto River Authority refused permission to dump that water into that. Therefore, they went to the closest location that there was a ditch that was connecting already to the San Jacinto River, which belonged and dumped into our mud district. All that water from that retention pond now dumps into the ditch that goes to the San Jacinto River through our neighborhood, and now our neighborhood floods. We had 30 homes that flooded on the tax day floods.
Ma'am, I don't want to cut you off, but this is what you have, the problem that you have is a completely different problem than what we're here for today, and I want to talk to you about that.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about that at a I don't know. I only know what you just told me, but it's certainly something that we should look into. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Correct. Yes.
All right.
The question is, am I currently representing people that flooded with Harvey? The answer is yes. The next question was, has that been under a year? That's been almost 2 years. Yes, ma'am. And I think Jason talked a little bit about the stuff that he does. Jason and I went to law school together, actually. We've been practicing law for 18 years. I'm a litigator, and what I do is I litigate cases. I litigate all different kinds of cases. I have 4 other attorneys in my office that handle various other types of law, probate law, family law, those types of things. What I do is litigation. I did not go to A&M. That's Orange. I went to UT. In South Texas College of Law, but this is what I do.